Hey everyone, Seth here with BSTechTalk, and this is my machine Grayson. In the next couple videos, I'm going to be upgrading the water cooling system in it. I'm going to change out the top triple radiator for a quad radiator, split the single loop into two separate loops, change out all the soft tubing that you can see for rigid tubing, and change the white coolant to a red coolant. Probably one of the questions I see most on Reddit and other forums where people ask water cooling questions is how do you get the fluid out of the system easily? And what you see here is my pump with an integrated drain system. All I have to do is unscrew this stop plug at the front of the drain, and then I can attach a fitting with a spare piece of hose to the end of it right here. Turn the little knob on the top, and then the coolant will come right out. Gravity will do most of the work. Now I've got my spare tubing in place and my bucket ready to go. I'm going to turn the valve and we will be draining the loop. The pseudo-science behind why this works is because I have the drain placed at a low point in the loop. If I had it placed, say, in the middle of the loop, then gravity wouldn't have as much effect and there would be fluid trapped in the lower parts of the loop. I'm going to let this drain and then I'm going to rinse it a few times to make sure that I have all the white fluid out, and after that I'll come back. Now that all the water is drained out, I have removed all the soft tubing and I am ready to start taking things out and marking places where I can drill holes for pass-throughs in the case to go between the mid plate and the bottom section. I'll also drill the holes to install the second reservoir. They'll go here, and drill the holes in the bottom of the case to install the second pump here next to the first one. What we're looking at here is the computer, and it's actually out of the computer case. One of the features that I love about the CaseLabs SMA8 is that the motherboard tray actually slides completely out of the case so that you can build the entire computer separately and then slide it back in and hook the water cooling up to it. And what I wanted to show off here is the new rigid fittings that have been installed. You can see we have two on the CPU block, two on the VRM block, and then a parallel setup for the graphics cards. As you can see, things are starting to take shape. I've got the quad radiator installed in the top of the system. Got both of the reservoirs installed and they have been tubed into the mid plate. I have the pass-throughs drilled and installed on the mid plate and the fittings on both the top and the bottom installed. Just to kind of explain what's going to be going on here, the top, I'm going to have the rigid tubing come out and up 90 degrees into the graphics cards, and this one is going to be a bit more of a complicated run. It'll come out and around and back up and around to the CPU block. Down in the bottom, it's a little bit hard to explain. It'll all be done with soft tubing, and it'll be kind of a complicated mess of runs with the radiator and both pumps and everything down below. Okay, so now we have the bottom completely plumbed up. The bottom radiator is back in. Both of the pumps are installed. The power supply is back in, and all of the tubing is ran in the back and the basement. It's kind of hard to see all the tubing because it is a black tubing. It's EVGA It stands for Zero Maintenance Tubing. It's made out of EPDM rubber, so it won't leach chemicals into the coolant like other plastic-based tubings will. All that's left is to run the acrylic tubes in the front part of the case. As you can see, all the hard tubing runs have been made real quick. We use the soft tubing to go up through the back to the top radiator, then from the top radiator down to the motherboard. then motherboard to CPU, then CPU out and around to the mid plate. For the GPU loop, we have a parallel configuration where it comes up 90 degrees and then through the cards and back down 90 degrees into the mid plate. As far as hard tubing versus soft tubing, I much prefer hard tubing. Soft tubing, it usually takes quite a bit of a struggle to get it onto the fittings and then get the fittings tightened. It always makes my hands hurt. This was much simpler. If I had to recommend one to a first-time water cooling, I would definitely say give hard tubing a try. All that's left to do is to leak test the system and then refill it with the red coolant. So I will pick that up in the finished product video. So that'll be the end of this video. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you thought it was bad. Follow us on Twitter if you want to interact, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you for watching.